How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks. We focus on one thing: always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Mullen, which was up 15.15% on the day. If you guys remember what I said in my previous video, if we have price action above the 21-day EMA and if we're able to break above $1.55, watch out. That's exactly what happened today. So I know many are asking, what do I see it doing tomorrow? So I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in a bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Mullen. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $1.52, being up 15.15%. On the low, it tested $1.39, and then on the high, testing $1.63. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 101.149 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 51.842 million shares. So we had well above the average in regards to volume, and it's part of the reasons why we've seen some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's at 60.70. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, but we are above the 21-day EMA and as well as the 50-day. So Mullen is looking real bullish. And since we are trading below our 200-day moving average, it still continues to be in a bear market. But what I want to bring to your attention, we were able to actually close above the 50-day moving average. This is exactly what you want to see. So what we want to see a continuation of is staying above $1.35. So we ended up seeing a low at $1.39 and we saw a high at 163. If you guys remember what I said, if we can get past 155, then we can look forward to that move to the upside. So the next level to keep an eye on is right here at $1.74 or the $1 and mid 70-cent range. If we can break above this level, that's where you can see Mullen making that potential test to $2, which is a psychological area for this play. And what do I mean by that? There could be a good amount of selling pressure, so you want to keep that in mind. If we decide to have a pullback now, since we did have a strong run up and we saw above average volume, then we want to see support continuing to hold above the 21-day EMA, which is at 124. But again, this is only if we end up breaking through 135. But for the most part, just taking a look at these technicals, we continue to have higher lows and as well as higher highs. Let's see that continue for the rest of this week. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent short interest information from Mullen. So the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 51.17%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 12.09 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 0, updated 1 minute ago, and then for the short buy rate, it is at 13.38%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 16th, it was at 52.30, and then for the close of the 17th, being at 51.17. And then taking a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 8.86%. You guys see it. As long as we have buying volume coming into the play, we'll see momentum in the stock. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution from Mullen. So we see on the inflows at 32.28 million and then on the outflows at 30.82 million. So we had an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown. On the large, it was 12.94 million. On the medium, it was 15.20 million. And then on the small, it was 4.14 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it it was 12.02 million. On the medium, it was 14.79 million. And then on the small, it was 4.01 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for June the 21st, which is today, we had that inflow of 0.92 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, you can see that we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then for the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 30.52%. We know that Mullen is a volatile stock. There's going to be a lot of traders going in and out of this play, and that's why it's fairly high. But of course, if you have a game plan, you should be banking some serious profits because we've been talking about this play for quite some time and the levels you want to pay attention to. So let's move on to the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details. So for my final thoughts for Mullen, when it comes to the price action, taking a look at those technicals, it looks very strong. It has been able to form higher lows for the past 5 trading days and as well as higher highs. So when we see this, there could be a continuation of it. So going over the price action, the high of the day was at $1.63. If you remember what I said in my previous video, if we can get that break above $1.55, then watch out. We also want to make sure that we were able to stay above the 21-day EMA. We did exactly that. It is at 124 and we only saw a low at 139. So we want to see some more strength going into tomorrow. Since we did close above the 50-day moving average, which is around $1.35, this momentum can continue. So the next level you want to look out for is right around $1.70. If we can get that break above $1.70, that's where you can start looking at that psychological area at $2. I'm not saying that it's going to go to $2, but that's the next area where we could see a lot of selling pressure, and I want to make sure that you know that. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information, we continue to see shorts are heavily vested in this play. But one thing that is clear, whenever it does see above average volume or we have a strong catalyst, which I'm going to be talking about, this stock can move very quickly. And since we've been talking about it for quite some time, I'm hoping that many of you were able to make some money off of this play as well. Now let's talk about the recent catalyst that came out today for Mullen. So Mullen Automotive extended maturity of a senior secured convertible note of $28 million. And as we go on further, I'm going to tell you what their thoughts were on that as well. So the CEO of Mullen, which is David Mashuri, here's his thoughts on it. This note extension with Asusa is important for us as it preserves our cash flow at a time when the economy appears to be hitting some headwinds, and it provides the company with a strengthened cash position, allowing us to execute on our EV plans. So this is definitely some great news for investors. We know we're in a high inflationary environment, and we also do know that Mullen is in a business where it's very capital intensive. So knowing that they have access to this money so they can continue to grow the business is going to make shareholders excited. And if you're not excited, then I don't know why. But if you are inside of this play as far as from a trading standpoint, you want to make sure you're protecting your profits as the stock continues to move up. I want to make sure I keep putting that reminder out there. And as far as some more catalysts to look forward to, you're going to have to be waiting on that if you are an investor, because at the same time, this company is not profitable as of yet. So it's going to be thriving off of news, and then we want to see what they're going to be doing with this cash, especially since there's going to be a lot of eyes on it, knowing that they got this extension. But overall, in general, great news for Mullen, great price action. Look out for those levels to the upside and as well as for the downside if you are going to be trading this. And for all of my investors out there, just make sure that you don't have any FOMO. Make sure as you build out your position, you're building it at a really good average cost. There's no reason to be buying high, especially at these current levels. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.